Hi everyone and welcome. It's Lauren here from Acting Classes in Perth, and you're watching The Daily Show, the show where I'm here to answer all your acting related questions at 7 p.m. every single day here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and now Twitter simultaneously, plus an audio only version now available in the iTunes podcast directory. You can search in the iTunes podcast directory for that by simply searching Acting Classes in Perth. Now, before we roll the intro, I would love to invite you to join me at one of my free 3-hour acting classes for beginners. We have classes for all ages and all experience levels, so please don't think that you've missed the boat. We would love to see you there. Be sure to check out all of our upcoming courses. You can do that at actingclassesinperth.com/free, or simply follow the link in the description of this video to see when and where my next free class for beginners is being held, and they are so much fun. It doesn't matter whether you want to explore acting because you want to be an actor, or whether you want to explore acting for the developmental improvements of your confidence, of your public speaking skills, or you just want to come along and meet a whole lot of people and have some fun as well. We would very much love to see you there, so be sure to check it out. It's a very relaxed and very fun environment. But first of all, let's roll the intro. Before we get into today's question, if you are watching us right now, please give us a huge thumbs up. I would love to know that you're out there, and leave a comment or simply ask a question. You know what? If you don't know what to say, just say hello. I would love to know that you are with us right now. Plus, stay tuned, because towards the end of this episode, I have another student shout out for a student out there who has achieved so much since starting with me here at Acting Classes in Perth. But first of all, here's today's question.
As a beginner, should I be honest when auditioning and inform them I've never been to an audition before?
Carl, thank you so much, mate, for sending in your question. It's a great question, and it is actually a question I do get a lot in class. So, look, my first bit of advice would be always make sure that you're never lying. However, Carl, I would also encourage you to find a way to enhance where you're at, right? So you don't have much to start with, but what you do have is the way in which you present it in that auditioning space, or in that networking space, really. Now, what I mean by that is, consider these two options, right? So you go to an audition and you haven't done anything, or really not much at all, in the past. And in that audition, you kind of talk about that by saying things like, I've never acted before in a film, but I'm really hoping to try and do a great job, in this film, and I really liked this film. Another version of that, Carl, could be, I'm really looking for the right opportunity that I can help develop my skills and really improve where I'm at as an actor. I haven't done a lot, but I guess we all have to start somewhere, right? So the problem with those versions, Carl, is that they're not really selling you in a great light, right? Now, it's true, they're very factual, right? You're not lying, but they're very factual. You haven't done a lot, and that's great, and you are a beginner, and that's fine, because you're right, everyone has to start somewhere. But you're also then really, in a way, talking yourself down. You're distancing yourself from the opportunity because of one major thing. You always have to remember, it's not about what you want, it's about what the filmmaker wants. It's about what is best for the filmmaker and for their film, right? And so I want you to think about how you can spin and also turn and enhance the way in which you present and the way in which you actually talk to them about your lack of experience, or maybe by not even going into too much depth about it at all, right? Because when you spoke, or when we kind of threw out the version, not you specifically, I gave you the version, right? But when we spoke in those two examples before, what we really in essence had was this concept of learning from this film, this concept or idea of maybe this film can help me better my career or improve my skills. And you have to remember that a filmmaker is not going to be overly excited or take a huge risk when you aren't really that confident yourself. And they're not there making a short film or an independent film or whatever it is to help you improve your skills. You are a professional, and being a professional is a mindset, right? So that's being on time, that's being prepared, that's ensuring that the way in which you act in that space is always professional and above board. And what I mean by that, and how I can extend this even further, Carl, is I want you to think, what is it that is of benefit to the filmmaker? How can I enhance what I'm telling them to help them in some way? So a simple example of that, Carl, would be taking what we had before and flipping it and saying something like this. I'm in a great... let me start that again, Carl, and actually, ready? Here we go. I'm in a great place within my life right now where I can actually volunteer my time to student and aspiring filmmakers without having to charge them. Something like that, Carl, I would definitely suggest you try, or any other versions of that. That's important because what it's going to do is it's going to now place the power, I guess you could say, or the decision or the choice, or more specifically, the value into the hands of the filmmaker rather than in your own hands. And you're not the only one benefiting in that respect. The filmmaker is as well. And then on top of that, Carl, what I'd also suggest you do is find a way in which you can really communicate and talk about and show through examples and maybe stories how you understand the character that you're auditioning for. Because that's the biggest thing here, right? Is the filmmaker wants to know that they can instill in you the ability and that they can leave you to actually achieve a great outcome with your character development and with your overall acting and performance in their film. So something I would consider you do is find one or two things within the story or within the character that you can directly relate to. That's going to be really easy, Carl, for you to connect with. And then what I want you to do is I want you to talk about it to them. I want you to give them examples of how you know you can connect to this because of something you've been through in your life in the past. Don't be a used car salesman. Don't say, oh, I would be great for this role. I know I would. Don't say, this role was made for me. What I want you to do is I want you to find a way to tell them a story, to take them on a journey, to use your emotions and your ability to hook their emotions. And that's the key here, Carl, as well. So be sure to use something like, when I read this character, he resonated with me because when he talks about ... I recall a time in my life when I was going through something just as, similar and just as kind of familiar in my mind, and in the way that I read him, I felt like, I could do him some justice. And I know that at that time when I was going through that, it was incredibly hard. And I see on the page someone who might be a bit of a damaged character from the viewpoint of the other characters around him. But what I realize is he's not. He's just someone who needs more faith in himself. He's just someone who needs a push. He just needs someone to help him along. And because I've been in a similar place, I think I know how to kind of bring that to the character. Something like that, Carl, could really enhance your chances of actually getting and retaining a callback, and you never know, even the role. So, Carl, I'm going to leave that with you, man. I'm going to let you try that. Thank you so much, Carl, for sending in your question tonight. Now, it is time right now for another student shout-out. All right, so today's shout out goes to a student who I haven't seen in person for a while, but who is always sending me Facebook messages and keeping me updated with what they're doing. And I have to say, whilst I haven't seen this person for a while, I am so incredibly proud of everything they've achieved and how they've grown to be such a mature young man. Sonu Sharma, I remember you when I started many years ago. I think you were probably one of my first 20 students at acting classes in Perth, and it is such a beautiful thing to have watched you grown and developed, man. So Sonu, well done in all that you've achieved both in acting and in your life, and I'm really proud to have had the chance to meet you thus far and to continue to watch you grow and move forward, man. I'm very, very excited for you. So congratulations in claiming this spot on tonight's episode for the student shout out, mate. Well done. If you liked today's question, show your support by clicking the share button and help out your fellow actor right now. And if you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter, be sure to like and follow our page. And if you're watching us on YouTube, simply click subscribe and then be sure to hit the notifications bell next to it. And finally, if you are listening to us on iTunes, simply click subscribe plus. Don't forget to join me at my next free 3-hour acting class for beginners, where we have so much fun, so many laughs, and it is so creative, and it is a fun space for you to explore acting and learn how acting can enhance and benefit your everyday life. You can find out where my next class is being held by visiting actingclassesinperth.com/free, or check out the link in the description of this video. I very much look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I am very much awaiting you again tomorrow at 7 p.m. for another awesome question answered by me. But until then, stay safe and, like always, happy acting.